Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. My name is Gail Snyder. I'm the Executive Director for Dementia Friendly Fort Worth, and we're proud to offer this program with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and United Way of Tarrant County. This is a recorded program and is available for future use through a YouTube channel. Today, we're excited to have a brand new guest with us, Lisa Buck from the Alzheimer's Association, and she's going to talk to us about native gardening. Lisa, let's get started.
Okay, my name is Lisa, and I work with the Alzheimer's Association, and my hobby is gardening, and I like to garden with native plants. So I have some of the things that you'd find in a lot of your gardens, probably oleander and things like that. But in the last 5 or 6 years, I've been concentrating on native plants, and I wanted to show you why. So we're just going to go through my slides as far as we can get, and I welcome your comments. Gail and I were having a tremendous conversation about poppies before you joined. So let's see. Okay, so this is my backyard in early spring. I live in a suburban 70s house in Fort Worth with a pool in the Wedgwood South neighborhood. So it's nothing fancy. And this is in March. This is the crossvine and some cactus. But I want to show you why I like the crossvine.
Lisa, before you go to the next slide, on the left and the right of the screen, are those your knockout roses?
Yes.
Okay. And what colors are they?
A dark pink.
Okay.
Almost red, but not red. There's one.
Okay.
So have you heard about how bees are the most important animal on the planet? There's a lot of talk about bees right now. Has anyone heard that?
Yes.
Yeah, because they pollinate things, and it's important for food crops to have bees, but everyone uses so many pesticides that it's killing bees. So I like to plant plants that the bees like. So there's a bee, and there's a bee that's close up. Now, this happened, took these pictures the day after we were all told to go work from home. So I don't have any fancy cameras. I'm sitting there in the flower bed with my camera 6 inches from the bee, trying to get them to hold still. There's a bee on lavender. And this is a native honeysuckle. It's called a coral honeysuckle. It's one of my Texas natives. So you don't normally see these plants in nurseries, but they do really, really well. And I think they're really pretty.
So what was the name of that first one that you had with the bees?
Oh, crossvine.
Crossvine, okay.
Yeah, it's done blooming. And this is the coral honeysuckle. And these are California poppies. I'm from California, and I planted these from seed when I first moved into this house, and they have come back every year. So I can't grow a bluebonnet to save my life, but my California poppies do really well.
Lisa, excuse me, do you water those very much for them to come back?
Not really. Once they're established, they don't need a lot of water. California is very dry.
Yeah, poppies are one of my favorite flowers.
Oh, you'll love the next flowers. Yeah, I saved all the seeds. This is a frilly poppy. You can see why it's called a frilly poppy. And I just toss the seeds into the flower beds in the spring.
Wow.
Or actually December, and they grow like this. And you can see the little seed heads. I wait until they're all dry, and then I collect those. So I have seeds to give away and seeds for next year. And these are native foxgloves.
Mm.
Yeah, they're done now. The sad thing with planting perennials is they don't bloom all summer. So I have 3 different gardens every year. You know, I have the early spring with the flowering fruit trees and the irises, and the crossvine and the roses, and then, you know, and then in the summer it's sunflowers and zinnias. But this is a native, it's a Texas sage, autumn sage. This is one of my favorite Texas natives. It gets really messy and it takes over. So it's not for everyone, but it's really pretty and it loves the shade and it has these beautiful little blue flowers and it just grows. I like things that just grow. They're happy. And of course it attracts bees as well.
What is that, Lisa?
This is called heartleaf skullcap.
Oh, skullcap, okay. Yeah, I want to get some things that attract bees because that's very important now. Yeah. Would that do in a container pot?
You're doing container pots?
No, I'm asking if that one would do in a container.
I don't know. I don't imagine it would. Well,
Oh, okay.
I guess it would. Yeah, it would.
I guess you can always try it.
It just wouldn't spread as much.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
And this is another favorite of shade plant. It's a datura. It's also called angel trumpet and moonflower. And I think those are so pretty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And here's another shady area. This is an oak leaf hydrangea.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of native. It's not really native to this part of Texas, but it's native to North America. Unlike the other hydrangeas, the pink and blue ones.
Now, is that a summer bloom?
No, that's a spring, May.
Spring?
This is May. It always blooms in May. And this is my rock garden. That's not a great picture. But rocks need gardens too.
They grow well, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You don't
this
have
is
to water them very much either.
No. Can you see what this is?
The frog.
Oh,
It's a toad.
Toad.
I didn't see that at first.
Neither did I. And so I was watering. These are my cuttings. I try to grow things from cuttings. And I looked down and I thought, that looks like a toad asleep in a flower pot. And it was. He stayed there for 2 days.
I really like the moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
he's
it
in
was-
I hope he stays in a shady corner of the garden. Every once in a while they jump in the pool and get caught in the skimmer.
Oh.
And sometimes they live and sometimes they don't. So this is another view of, this is early morning. The sun is in the back of the yard. And that's not a great picture. So
How
this
much
is,
land do you have there, Lisa?
excuse me?
How much land?
Oh, this is just a suburban backyard. I don't know what it is, but it's
Oh, okay, because it seems like it's quite large. You've done it beautifully now.
it's not large at all. It's
Really?
I just have little, you know, and it's got one of those 6-foot fences around it, privacy fence.
Uh-huh.
So the light's really weird. You know, I have to plant for the light and the shade and
Right.
So Lisa, tell us what some of the plants in this picture are.
Okay, this one, can you see the arrow? This is a agave. Someone gave it to me. It's going to get to be 4 feet wide, but it's just a baby now.
Okay.
This is a Brazilian rock rose, and they are very heat and drought tolerant. And in the morning, they open up and have the pretty flowers. This is more autumn sage back here. This is one of my favorites. It's called Blackfoot Daisy. And it loves hot and dry. This is lamb's ear. It blooms and it's really sweet. Over here is a blue mist flower, which will get really big and has blue flowers, blooms. It's like a hardy portulaca, not a portulaca, ageratum, and has these puffy blue blooms that attract butterflies.
Now, is the lamb's ear, is that a heat or shade?
Either. This right here gets this bed. This is in the morning before the sun has hit it, but you'll see a lot of cactus and yucca. This bed, I've measured it on the hottest days of the year, and it gets to be 130 degrees.
Wow.
Wow. Now, in the far right corner, the tall, stocky blooms, is that the lamb's ear blooms?
Yeah, this is the lamb's ear blooms.
Okay. And what color are those flowers?
Kind of purplish.
Purpley. Okay.
And then this over here is mealy blue sage. It's a Texas native, and it likes the heat. Then over here is more Blackfoot daisy, yellow yuccas. This is a sunflower. It's a baby sunflower. Mexican Indian blanket flower. And then I've got some cone flowers. There's another view of that. This is just replanted it. It's second garden of the year. So I have the cone flowers. And then back here are Maximilian sunflowers. They'll bloom.
Oh, I love those.
Oh, yeah, good. You know what they are.
Yeah, they are beautiful. Beautiful.
You
And what did you
recognize
call
anything
those pink ones?
They have like a little
Cone flowers.
blooming. Oh, Lisa, can I ask you about those Maximilian daisies? They prefer the shade, don't they?
No, they do just fine in hot heat.
Oh, because I couldn't keep mine. They weren't good for a while. Maybe I didn't water them enough, but then I want to get some more. I just...
Yeah, I got mine from a friend who lives, she has a couple acres in Crowley that it's all native plants. And they grow in an area where it gets full sun and no water.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so there's my rose bush. And I took this picture day before yesterday.
That is so cute.
Wow.
They're little cardinals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And which tree or bush are these in?
They're in a knockout rose.
We have a trellis that has some early spring miniature roses that blooms over it.
Mm-hmm.
This spring we had a mockingbird who built a nest in there. And every morning when my husband would go out there, the mockingbird was diving his head, trying to get him from its nest.
Oh, how cool.
And
I feel blessed to have little critters in my garden. That's kind of why
that's
I
a
do
nice
it.
picture.
Well, look, this part is in focus. I just didn't want to disturb them. I just wanted to kind of stick my camera in and snap a picture. They're the poppies when they're finished.
Right.
That's the seed heads. And Esperanza is, let's see, there's nothing too interesting there. This is where I hang out.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of got a funky California beach vibe. At least I like to pretend it does. And there's, okay, so look at this planter. It's a bird. It's made out of a tire.
Wow.
And wrens have made a nest in it.
Yeah. Wrens
So
will
there's-
make nests in anything, I found.
I know, but it's really funny because I spend a lot of time sitting out there and I'm just watching the birds coming and going and building their little nest. Okay, this is the front of my house. And it used to have Augustine, but it never had a sprinkler system. It's on a corner of a cul-de-sac, and so but the front is really huge. And when the Augustine died, I threw out wildflower seeds. That was probably 9 years ago.
Wow.
And so what I do, I live in Wedgwood, Southwest Fort Worth. If you're from Fort Worth, you know Wedgwood. So I mow around the curb so it looks intentional and it keeps code compliance at bay. And yeah,
I was going to say, what do your neighbors in code compliance say about that?
I got yard of the month last year.
Really?
Yeah, I did. They like it. I get a lot of compliments. I mean, it's really messy and it doesn't look all that great most of the year. But when it's in bloom, you know, I see people talking about it. They always compliment me. It's fun because you can, you know, get up close and wildflowers and it's always changing. So this is the mailman's view.
I don't think it would work in our neighborhood because we'd get cited for too tall of plants in the yard.
Really?
Yeah, you know, they're pretty. We had a spring where it wasn't even 6 inches tall, and we got cited for some weeds in the yard.
Oh,
Wow.
God.
Said, wait a minute, you know.
So do you have a homeowners association in your neighborhood?
Yes,
Oh,
we do.
yeah.
Yeah, and we've never had one, and it's only because the house we wanted, this is what we have. But they're pretty good, you know. They're not like the Geico commercial, you know, where the person's always cutting down the you know, stuff and things like that. But they really do want you. Of course, we're better than some of the other folks. There are some folks who just don't keep them very well, and I'm sure they get cited quite a bit, you know. But we do know eventually the city will come and mow it for them, and you know, bill them too, you know, if they get it out of hand. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, but they like it pretty much, you know, the suburban, you know,
Freshly cut lawns.
freshly cut lawns, you know, type of things. And you know, we've got a neighbor whose grass is like a putting green.
Yeah.
Gee.
Okay? And of course, he gets yard of the month all the time, you know, sort of thing, because he keeps it that way. But his
Yeah,
neighbors
my
next
friend-
door, the neighbors next door don't, you know, and theirs is just kind of wild type of thing. So that's probably one of the reasons he gets yard of the month, because it looks so good compared to the others.
Lisa, you mentioned that your front lawn is St. Augustine. That's what we have. And we've been here 5 years and it's progressively becoming more weedy.
Mhm.
And we've really had a terrible time with the weeds. And it has a sprinkler system, which we've added more sprinklers to better water it. But the last 2 years we've been getting these I call them carrot weeds, because
Oh,
when they're green, they look like carrots. And then when they come in the early spring, and then when it starts getting hot, they die and they're crispy and prickly.
Ew.
You touch them or step on them. It's not a sticker, and their roots are really long, like a big long carrot root. And if you don't get really down close to try to pull it up, you just break it off and then it's just going to grow back. We've had a terrible time trying to keep the St. Augustine looking good because of those weeds.
Some of those, Gail, if you mow them early enough in the spring, they'll die.
Yeah. Well, we usually start mowing pretty early.
Yeah,
Most of the
those
one-
are called beggar's lice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an awful name.
And if you pull them in sunlight, because I made that mistake, it causes this reaction. It's called photophytodermatitis, which photo for light, phyto for plant, and dermatitis for nasty skin rash. And it was horrible. It's a
I think
really
I've had that a
nasty
couple of times
Yeah.
because it's usually sunny when I pull them.
Yep.
Says wear gloves.
Yeah, I almost always wear gloves in the garden.
Yeah, I pulled them one year at moonlight. I waited for a full moon.
And what is it called?
Beggar's lice. That's one of its names.
Right. Yeah. Wish we could find something that would get rid of it.
I know.
When
Pulling
it
is
when it dries up, that's what's the seeds that makes it spread.
right, and they catch on to animals and pants and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So there's another view of my street, so you can tell what kind of neighborhood I have. This is earlier in the season, so, and then the lawn has been taken over. You've seen these weeds, so I just let them grow because they're really pretty. They're, around here people call them buttercups, but they're actually evening petunias. Primrose, no, evening primrose.
Evening primrose.
Yeah. So you can see how I look like I'm mowing it, even though it's just one big weed patch. And there's a close-up of the evening primrose.
Yeah, we've got those too. But not so much in the yard, but in some of our flower beds.
Mm-hmm.
Got those, yeah. And we just let them go because they really are pretty.
Are they a vine or are they close to the ground?
They are, what would you say, they get to be about a foot tall.
Yeah, something like that.
But
Yeah,
they lie down.
yeah. They don't climb.
Okay.
Yeah. We've actually had some in our backyard too, but only little spotty pieces, and sometimes I just mow over them and they eventually go away after that, because they're in the middle of a sort of grass. But in the flower beds, we just keep them there and just let them go, and they're pretty. They're pretty
I pull
flowers.
them out when they're done for the season. Their leaves start turning red and the flowers go away, and then they just look kind of messy. So I pull them out.
I don't think we've ever pulled them out, but they come back nice in spring.
On the website.
Yeah, they come back, but so I just pull them out when they're done and they come back next year.
Feel better naturally. Using only high quality herbs.
Sorry about that. That's
to make our world famous herb cough drop. Find out more. Look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
I don't know what happened. Every once in a while, my Google goes crazy.
I thought we were getting an unexpected visitor to our Zoom.
Well, no, it's just every once in a while our Google just kind of picks on something and just keeps going. And I don't know why. This was Ricola cough drops. I don't have no idea why that came.
It heard me cough.
Could be.
I bet it did. Should I try again?
Funny story about Google. I have a grandson who's about 15, 16 months old. And he's getting his first words, and his first words were like ball and book. And then my daughters told us that he started saying Google. Because he had Google, and they are always saying, Google, turn on the lights. Google, turn on the air conditioner. And so about his fifth word that he came up that they knew what it was Google.
Google.
Oh, funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are those Blackfoot daisies again?
No, these are not Blackfoot daisies. These are oxeye daisies.
Oh, okay.
And okay, so they grow with the primroses. And this is in a flower bed, and the primroses are in the flower bed. And they grow together and look nice together. But they are kind of invasive. If not invasive, at least very aggressive. And they're so
Did you plant those from seed or did those just come up?
I planted them from seed, and one year I had my whole yard was just a zillion daisies. So I pulled some of them up. I pulled them to manage them.
Uh-huh. And what are the little red flowers in between the primrose and the daisies?
Those, the little in here,
Uh-huh.
those are, it could be more autumn sage. This is autumn sage over here.
Okay.
And it could just be the redder leaves of the primrose.
Okay.
But they, these daisies are illegal to sell in Colorado because they're so invasive, which I think is really ironic, seeing as Colorado is the first state to legalize the growing of marijuana. So you can grow marijuana in Colorado, but daisies are illegal.
Well, if they had the same characteristics of marijuana, they'd let them grow it, right?
Yeah. Why grow them? They don't even get time.
You know, wouldn't even have to plant them. They just grow.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Now, do your cactuses bloom?
Yes. Not much, but they bloom.
And did you plant those or were they already there?
I planted them. There is a big, huge cactus in my neighborhood, and I really liked it because it was one of the spineless ones.
Uh-huh.
So I broke off a big chunk of it, took it home, and that must have been 10 years ago. And all the cactuses, I must have 6 or 7 big cactuses, and they all grew from that one cutting. So they get big, I snap off a piece, stick it in the ground somewhere else, and I've got a new cactus. So this is a close-up of what the wildflower patch looks like in my front yard. So you can see it's messy, but if you look carefully, you see different kinds of flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And these are Mexican hats and India blanket flowers. Look, and there's a bee. And the bees love these. So, and it's a mealy blue sage. Do you see the bees? There's one, and there's one.
Yeah.
So I set my camera for the fastest setting. So it's 1/4000th of a second. That's how I can get the bees in flight. And this is a bee emerging from a cactus flower.
Wow.
Yeah, this yellow thing here, that's its egg, that's its pollen sac. So they stuff all the pollen in their pollen sacs and take it back to the hive. And her, actually, she's a she, her pollen sacs are all completely full.
I say I never realized.
That's a great photo.
What?
I said that's a great photo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's another one. This is on an Indian blanket flower. And her pollen sacs are really full. And I think,
Those
Is
models?
yes, this is not this year, but this blue mist flower attracts monarchs. It's a pollen, feeds monarchs. So I have tons of this. It grows everywhere.
What is it called?
We call it blue mist flower. It's a type of ageratum, which they sell at nurseries.
Okay.
I guess that's my last one. Okay.
Wow. That's quite amazing, Lisa.
It is. It
Well,
is.
thanks.
You must put a lot of time and effort into it.
Actually, I didn't. I just picked my favorite pictures.
Would you like to come and do mine now?
Oh, my garden, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of working in the garden. But it not only do I like it, it's my hobby, but it's also my relaxation.
Yeah.
You know, I like being in nature, and you know, there are only so many places you can go outdoors and not be too hot or too cold in Texas. So I don't do a lot of hiking after the spring. And they've discovered that microbes in the soil actually make you healthy. And it's exercise and it's sunlight. So I've got a lot of different reasons for gardening.
Plus, you've got a pool. You can jump in the pool if you get terribly hot and cool off.
Mm-hmm. I try to finish the garden by the end of May every year, and that's when the pool warms up. So I'm switched from garden to pool, but this year I've kept gardening.
Yeah.
Really hot. So you said half an hour, right?
Yeah.
I did.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That is really nice. Thank you so
Yes.
much
Yes.
Thank
for
you.
sharing with us.
Well, you're welcome. So I will say goodbye. It was nice meeting you all.
It's nice meeting you, Lisa.
Okay.
Hope we'll see you again.
You probably will. See you later.
All right,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Lisa.
Bye.
All right. So up tomorrow is 1980s, The Price is Right with Brooke Wood. So
You're trying to trick us all the time, aren't you?
about what?
You're trying to trick us.
How am I
Can't
trying to?
remember anything.
No, this is a fun game, really.
I know it is. I know.
Is it?
I don't think any of you have been here yet for The Price is Right.
Yes. Last week.
Last week you were there. Okay. So we've done the 50s. We skipped the 60s. Last week we did the 70s. And so tomorrow we're going to do the 80s.
Okay.
Can you send me the link on that, dear? Just,
It's the same link that you joined today.
oh, no, I know, but we won't be together tomorrow. I won't be able to watch that tomorrow. I was going to, I don't know if is that going to be on YouTube or how do we get to watch it another time?
It will be, and I'll send you the link to it once it's posted.
Wonderful. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's something
Right.
so.
So y'all have a great rest of the day. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Gail.
right. See you
Bye-bye.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.